Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Supreme Court today held the pre-trial conference for the presidential election petition, and in the conference the court laid the ground rules for the petition period, including setting guidelines and the time allocations, among others. The court also framed 9 pertinent issues that will be used to determine the outcome of the petition challenging the victory handed to the Deputy President Dr. William Ruto. What does it mean for the country moving forward, and what should the political landscape expect? It is the discussion for the night, and joining me is Kotonde, who is a political analyst. Thank you so much, Kotonde, for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Thank you.
All right, now, today the ball has now started rolling, and it is in the court of the Supreme, the highest court in the land, the apex court. We began by a pre-trial conference of the petition, where we saw the 7th judgment chaired by the Chief Justice Martha Koome, of course, setting guidelines, of course, for this petition and other issues. Of course, it's also good that they laid out the 9 issues that should be used for the determination of this petition. And now, looking at how things are, what are the expectations probably from the people you have interacted with, and how you're seeing this political landscape? What are the expectations of the citizens generally?
First of all, I'm grateful for the invitation, and I want to say that as we go forward tomorrow, we expect the highest court of the land to ascertain key areas which they really talked about today. One of them being the technology which was used, if it was really genuine, the forms 34As which were relayed from the tallying center, the ones which were given to the agents of each and every party, and the ones which are sent to the main tallying center at the bombers. The other issue will be to determine whether the results which were released and finally declaring the president-elect, Dr. William Ruto, were they genuinely done? And if so, what is the way forward based on the issue that we have parties who stopped their swearing in program, and therefore we expect a lot tomorrow on the same.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Now, there is a lot of public scrutiny, not only from the citizens. We are also having public scrutiny from the international bodies. We saw observers from the European Union were sent at the Supreme Court, and the International Court of Justice were also here trying to follow on the proceedings of this petition. Therefore, it is a matter that we are really hoping that the 7th judge bench will be fair enough to every party, right from the petitioners and the respondents in this petition. Now, as we have seen it before, the politicians normally, they were saying that ahead of the elections, everyone should concede defeat if he loses in the elective post. And we have seen it, of course, coming to play in the mini polls, the mini elections that were postponed due to the mix-up in the election materials. We saw what happened in Kakamega County when Cleophas Malala conceded defeat to Fernandez Baraza, which was very commendable. But we have not seen that yet in Mombasa County. But now, focusing on this petition, how are you seeing the parties that are contesting in this petition? Will any of them concede defeat? Rather, will they take it easy as it is anticipated?
From the word go, when the elections were carried out, there was room for questioning the results relayed. 2, the other parties were saying that they will automatically be in a position to accept the results when they are genuinely done, when they are verifiable, and when the techniques used to produce the results are convincing to the common mwananchi. Now, when it comes to the just concluded two gubernatorial positions, that is Kakamega and Mombasa, we've seen Cleopas Malala of Kakamega coming out clearly and saying that he was genuinely defeated,
Right.
and the game was equally good. And we've not seen that happening in Mombasa. There were some allegations which was said by either members of the Kenya Kwanza that there was some voter bribery, of which, you know, in the code of law, you can only table that based on the facts.
Right.
So for me, I feel that it might not really add value per se, but in case they have some tangible reports, they can automatically file them at the courts. When it comes to the issues to do with the one we have tomorrow, that is the presidential results petition, we can say that both the parties, they had the right to complain. Because once something is not properly done as per what you expected, you have the right not to cause mayhem, but to visit the courts, and even thereafter talk to the court, air your grievances, and if they are genuinely correct, we will automatically see who becomes the real winner.
Right.
And by the way I've been walking around, we've seen citizens just saying that we want nothing but a genuine, verifiable, and attainable results, because we really took time as Kenyans to commit our time to the level that we went ahead and voted. And therefore, most of them are not feeling satisfied with what was announced on the 15th of this month by the Chief Returning Officer, Wafula
Chebukati.
Yes.
All right. Now, maybe just to go back to these mini elections, we have seen what we have seen. Of course, Malala, when he was conceding defeat, he did not raise issues of probably that he was rigged in a polling station. He was rigged probably in a tallying center. Do we probably? I mean, what can this be attributed to? Could it be that what has happened in the general elections, of course, that was held on the 9th of August, has led to the commission, the Electoral Commission, now tightening their belt so that they don't see a repeat of like what we are having right now, the presidential election petition? Could it be that due to the scrutiny and the weight of these mini elections that they have done the right thing, probably?
First of all, I want to appreciate the IEBC in the just concluded by-elections, because as a Thursday last week, all the materials, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, all the materials, election materials, were already at each and every center where the elections was to be carried out. 2, there was a lot of preparedness when it comes to security, whereby each and every returning officer, POs, and even the clerks were even coming out clearly, saying that as things stand, they are in a position to carry out these elections well, credible, and will be much verifiable. Now, when it comes to our friend Cleopas Malala, by coming out clearly that he was defeated clean and square, that shows that there is a lot of trust which already they've given to the IEBC. Yes, based on their preparedness. So I can say that the IEBC were not interested in seeing what they are now going through now.
Right.
Whereby they're taken into courts because of a mangled election results. Yes, so that's why they really prepared themselves for this. And more so, the numbers were not as per it used to be in the just concluded general election. The numbers was slim. The number of officers who were to man this election were many, and then they were also prepared psychologically for it.
All right. Now, maybe just to go back to the main gist of this discussion, the presidential election petition, and of course you mentioned some of the issues that the Supreme Court, framed as the issues, the 9 issues, of course, that they shall be using in the determination of this election petition. Just to read them out is one, they said that they are going to scrutinize whether the technology deployed by the IEBC to conduct the 2022 general elections met the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency to guarantee free, fair, and credible election. 2 was whether the interference with the whether there was interference with the uploading of the Forms 34As from the polling stations to the IEBC public portal. Number 3 was whether there was a difference between the Forms 34As that were uploaded on IEBC public portal and the forms that were received at the National Tallying Center, that is at the Bomas of Kenya, and the forms that were issued to the agents at the polling stations. Number 4 was whether the postponement of the gubernatorial elections in Kakamega and Mombasa counties, and of course together with the constituency of Kitui Rural, Kacheliba, Rongai, Pokot South constituencies, and other electoral wards in Nanyuki West, North Imenti, and Kwajenga, Embakasi. Could these postponed elections have resulted probably to voter suppression in detriment to the election petition that is in the Supreme Court? And number 5 was whether there was unexplainable discrepancies between the votes that were cast for the presidential candidates and other elective posts. Number 6 was whether the IEBC carried out verification, tallying, and a declaration of the results in accordance with the Constitution. Number 7 was whether the declared president met the threshold for declaration as the president-elect, meeting the threshold that is set by the Constitution as 50% of the total votes cast plus 1. Number 8 was whether the irregularities and illegalities of such magnitude could lead to the final result of the presidential elections being nullified. So let us probably look into these matters probably one by one. Where do we give weight? Maybe we can consider the threshold for this election petition, the threshold of the presidential declaration, because we understand that the Supreme Court dismissed some of the petitions. There were 9 petitions and it dismissed 2, leaving us with 7 petitions, and one of them was filed by the activist Okia Omtata, saying that no presidential candidate met the threshold for a declaration in the presidency, the threshold of 50% plus 1. So as the Supreme Court sustained this petition, what do you feel really? Because IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati declared president that William Ruto met the threshold, but now it is sustained in the petitions that they have to discuss on it, that no presidential candidate met this threshold. So what your take on this petition?
First of all, with the issues under, before the court, the way they are 9 is well put.
Right.
If we can start with the one which ought to have been the first one, the forms, the way they were relayed, were they signed by the agents, and are they reading from the same script? If we can start from there, the Constitution stated very well that when an election was being carried out, the tallying was done. First of all, people were to vote. After the voting, tallying was to be done at that very, very center. After that, verifications was to be done, and the results were to be released in these 3 forms. One was to be given to the agents in a written form. The other form, the same form 34A, was to be pinned outside
The door?
That very, very tallying room.
Okay.
For the public to see that whatever is written and will be sent to the main tallying center, that is Bomas, is what they have.
Right.
2, 3, the ones which were to be relayed to the main tallying center was also to conform right with the ones left.
Right.
That is where the problems are. You'll find that the forms which are at the very center, for example, Majiwa Primary polling station, the ones which are at Majiwa Primary and the ones which are with the agents plus the ones which are at the very tallying center, that is
the public portal, the one that
the one which is at the public portal,
okay,
the one with the tallying center are varying.
right.
That is where the team of Azimio wanted to know, like, how come what was read or what was relayed by the returning officer or PO at the very tallying center is not going as per what we have
At the portal.
at the portal.
Yes.
That is one area which is bringing a lot of animosity to most Kenyans. Then 2, we have 6 elective positions whereby, for example, we can have a tallying center at Madare North Primary School whereby, for example, we had maybe 1,020 voters. Only 1,000 turned up. You will find that at the end of the day, the results which should be relayed, the numbers should tally,
Right.
whereby the governor should find the numbers as per the senator, the women in that very, very polling station. But you will find the discrepancies here, whereby the numbers of the governor are surpassing or maybe coming down to the one for
Probably the Senate or the women rep. But this could be explained that, if probably we are voting in Nairobi, most people in Nairobi are people who probably are coming from different ethnic backgrounds. Their main interest could be in the presidency, could be in the gubernatorial, could be probably in the women rep, and probably least interest probably in the members of county assembly. Don't you think probably someone would want intentionally just to vote the governor and the president and not probably do not want to vote the members of parliament or rather the members of the county assemblies?
That is very true to some level. It is true that the voting pattern in this country, Kenya, is so much tribal. And more so, if you have your son or your daughter or one of your own, you'll automatically be inclined to him, voting to him, and even surpassing others.
Okay.
But in a scenario where there is a great disparity, even if, take the case of maybe Nyanza region, it might be that the number of voters who voted for Raila might be higher than the number of voters who voted for other members. But if you count all of them, they should give you the total number of votes which were cast at that very station.
Right.
But this is what was being seen,
Okay.
whereby the discrepancies were there, the numbers were not adding up,
Okay.
the number of governors, the number of senators, the number of were really different.
Okay.
This is where the problem is.
All right. Now, probably, Kotonde, because of the interest of time, the issues that have been lodged by the petitioner in this presidential election petition, we have seen, of course, the Supreme Court framing the 9 issues that they shall be using in the determination. Do you think these issues that were raised by the petitioner would have a threshold of nullifying this presidential election?
One, possibilities are there, and we cannot run away from it. Just the other day, Wafula Chebukati said that at the time he was giving out the results, some 27 constituencies were not yet captured.
Okay.
That is one area. Two, by virtue that the forms which were used are not tallying and they are not reading from the same script from the station and even up to the very final end, the bombers, that will automatically be like, who made the mistake and who uploaded this one instead of the one which ought to have been there.
Right.
Three, the technology. The one which was used, is it the one which is verifiable? And if not, then who manipulated it in between from the time it was relayed from the station, polling station, up to the main tallying center?
Right.
Yes.
All right.
Just to name a few.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, Kenyans are really waiting for the determination of the Supreme Court, the seven-member bench, of course, that is chaired by the Chief Justice Martha Koome. Whatever will be ruled, of course, the apex court, whatever they rule, whatever they render as their verdict will be final. But we saw a number of issues emanating. We saw Professor Wajakoya, of course, pleading with the court to accord him time, saying that he was also affected as one of the presidential candidates. But the court, was clear to him that he didn't file any petition and is not a party to any of the petitioners or the respondents. I don't think the court was fair enough to him to deny him the chance, of course, to be heard in this presidential petition.
I think, with due respect to Professor Wajakoya, he didn't play it right. You can never tell me to go to an ATM bank if you're not a member of that said bank.
Right.
The same applies. By the time Chebukati was giving his announcement on 15th of this month, it was seen in the public domain. Professor Wajakoya and Bwana Maure accepting the results and even appreciating that we accept the results and move on. By him now coming from nowhere, when he has seen serious contenders like His Excellency Right Honorable Engineer Dr. Raila and Odinga coming with this evidence, that is when they want to jump the ship. It might not really add well. The best advice I can give to Prof. Wajakoya is, if he knew very well that he was rigged out, he ought to have filed his case before, instead of coming up at the end of the day to at least jump the ship. It might really augur something wrong in him, whereby you can even be thinking like he wasn't serious in this real game.
All right, interesting.
Yes.
All right, now maybe as we wind up this discussion, the judiciary that is composed of it is a 7-judge bench, and it's more or less the same thing as the Electoral Commission, which is having the chairman, of course, and 6 other commissioners. But we saw 4 commissioners disowning the results, citing opaqueness in the tail of this electoral process. At the Supreme Court, of course, we're having 7 judges to determine this case. What do you foresee as the end of this whole process? As you know, the judges here at the Supreme Court, some of them have handled presidential election petitions, some of them are new to this. Do you think we are going to see them weighing on these petitions and giving a ruling that majority will own and not disown, as we saw in the IEBC commissioners?
First of all, I want to say that the commissioners, they did a good thing as per what is expected in this country, whereby if in case you are not contented with the results or any take, you don't need to take the responsibility.
Right.
2, to the 7-team bench of the Apex Court, I want to say that this team consisted of leaders who are fully given the opportunity. They went through a lot of scrutiny whereby they cannot give us something which might be costly to the country. Two, they know what it takes and where the emphasis are by all means of all the evidence which were brought. They will not be read, as they said that they only wanted senior counsels to be in there.
At the courtroom.
Exactly.
Yes.
That means everything will not be read. They will just be going to key areas and giving referrals. They give referrals that check article such.
Right.
So that from there we will automatically get the best out of it without manipulation, without intimidation, and without any threat coming from all quarters. What I want to say to these teams, that is team Kenya Kwanza, led by the President-elect, Dr. Ruto, and Bwana Raila.
Okay.
Let us accept what the High Court, the highest court of the land, that is the Supreme Court, will give us, and we make great this country going forward.
All right.
Yes.
All right. That's really interesting. Just for the interest of time, we shall be cutting this discussion at this point, but it is a discussion that we shall be having, of course, as long as this petition is continuing at the Supreme Court until the 5th of September, when the Supreme Court is expected to give a verdict on the petition. And hopefully Kenyans are also hoping that the highest court in the land shall deliver justice to both sides of this petition, where we have the petitioners and the respondents. They shall get justice, and they should accept the results that shall be given by the Supreme Court.